The MTG podcast is a virtual space for women and men in the tech and creative industries.
Tune in as we put it all on the table, sharing authentic life truths as we sustain and empower each other in search of our tribe.
We're more than a designer. We're more than our name badge. We're more than the work we produce.
Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast.
We're that tribe. What's up? It's been too long. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast. Typically, I am joined by my lovely podcast sister, Cicely, but today we are flying solo, but not quite solo. I'm really excited because I have a really cool group of people in and around this conversation of gratitude. So if you're already in some of our November conversations on Clubhouse, we have been talking about gratitude every Tuesday. And I love the fact that gratitude takes on many different shapes and forms. But today, I'm kind of being taken over by my own staff. That's right. Like, Team Octane is like showing up today for this kind of very unique conversation around gratitude. So feel free to say hi, girls, introduce yourselves so everyone can kind of get to know you. We'll start with Vico.
Yes, hello, everyone. I'm really happy, excited to be in this podcast for the first time. My name is Victoria, so everyone calls me Vico. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I am project manager at Octane Design Studios. So I've been working with Danielle, Aggie, and the rest of the team for like a year and a half. So I also do lots of social media marketing and strategy for different brands. So I'm specializing myself in small brands and branding that are starting from scratch. That's what I'm working a lot at. So I'm really passionate about the graphic design and social media universe. So happy to be here and hope that introduction worked well.
Yeah, girl, come on. That was fire. I love it. All right, Aggie, you're up.
That was such a great intro. No pressure. So I'm Aggie or Agnes, and I'm from Kenya, Nairobi specifically, and I've been working with Octane for about a year and a half, and I'm primarily responsible for the social media management. And yeah, in my free time, I like to do yoga and I like to do arts.
I love this. This is my favorite part because these are aspects, even I am like trying to like get in there, like, okay, yoga and art, and Vico likes this, and like all these things. We learn more about each other the more that we, hang out and work together. So this is really cool about this theme of gratitude because I am so grateful for my team. I would be nothing without my team. And so this is something that I really think was such a cool, unique concept is bringing people from my inner circles into the space. So very special episode for all of you listening out there. But I really want to deep dive a little bit more into this whole gratitude theme, right? So obviously we can go back and forth in a little bit of a roundhouse discussion, but I can totally kick off. So one of the questions that I really wanted to get into is this whole theme of what we're grateful for. I've been doing like this 30-day kind of diary escape posting on my personal Facebook and sharing every other day something that I'm truly grateful for. One of the things that I recently shared that I'm grateful for was my voice, but I'd love to hear from you, Vico. Like, what's something that you're grateful for?
Well, I was thinking in advance about all this gratitude thing. I know in America you have the Thanksgiving Day, and it's like special day for gratitude itself, and we don't have like this thing here. So it's I think it's a good thing to stop and think, okay, what can we say thank you for, and what are we grateful for? And I think I'm a grateful person for life itself, for everything I have in my life. I mean, having health, having a family I love, having the friends that I really care for, and they really care for me, and you know that they are like always there when you need them. Also, I'm person that I'm grateful for small things like looking at the sun every day, like going for a walk, having like this like small like moments for enjoying nature, enjoying life itself, having a wonderful job that I enjoy, and sometimes it doesn't feel like I'm working. That's one thing that I feel grateful for life. So I think all of this is what I'm thankful for every day. I feel grateful for every day. It's hard sometimes to practice it, to like make a list of what you are grateful for, because you are not thinking of it every day. But that's what I feel gratitude for.
I love it. I had to unmute myself for a second. I love this. And I like that you girl, you listed all this out, which I'm like, dang, she was coming for it. I love the fact that there are so many different things that we can look at in life that give us a sense of purpose, joy, encouragement. So I love the fact that you listed it out. Like I love I love it. Aggie, I'd love to hear from you. Like, what are some things that you're most grateful for?
So while I was listening to Vico, what really came across was being grateful for the little things. And that's something I grew up learning, or my mother used to say. You wake up in the morning, just be happy that you're alive, that you woke up in the morning, you know? And so, because some people are not even like privileged enough to actually have that, you know? You wake up and there's food. So I actually grew up just learning how to just be thankful for the little things, not just waiting for the big things. And so that's something like I just grew up having to do. And also, like recently, I do this thing like we don't have Thanksgiving as well, but I have my own Thanksgiving during my birthday. And like every year on my birthday, I have like a little letter to myself that I send. And I go like, you know, I'm thankful for this year, or what has happened this year. And so I list the stuff. And so that's reflection that I do every year. And I go back and I'm like, oh, wow, that year you were really having a lot of stuff. And then some years are just like, okay, we're happy that, you know, you survived. So for this year, my letter had like, I was happy that I was grateful that I was able to move to a new place. I was grateful for my family, you know, that we're all alive and we're well and we're hopefully thriving. I was also very grateful for my friends because they've really been there for me. And I was grateful for the same thing, almost like Vic. I'm like, did you steal my stuff? I was grateful also for like I have work and I enjoy doing the work that I do. And it helps me explore, you know, not just with Octane, also like other stuff. And I keep learning. So I'm always grateful to be able to have that opportunity. Yeah.
Oh, so well said. Wow, profound statements. I expect nothing less. I'm just kidding. I love this. And I love the fact too that you continually strive, right? It's not just the circle that we work in, it's the circles that are impacted from the circles that we work in. I love the fact that you do this letter to yourself. Like, girl, I had no idea. That is super cool. I want to say that every, birthday becomes a little bit more for me remembrance of some way, looking back at some of the things that I've been able to do, but holding on to that little brag book, that's like my thing. So I've got a little digital brag book that I keep it going. And I think it's like the best thing for me to look back on every year and be like, I did all these things. That's great. Next question. Sorry, my bad. I'm keep it up. People and things that help form deeper gratitude for you. We'll kick it off with Vico.
Okay, yes, I think that maybe I had like a true memory of speaking with one of my friends like a few years ago, and maybe she was like deeping into gratitude and to a more spiritual things for herself, and she tried to like teach me all of this. I didn't have like this as an habit in my daily life. And by talking to her and she sharing all this experience on how being grateful impacted positive in many aspects of her life, and I said, well, there's a thing here, and I started to become more and more conscious of my gratitude. I don't know if I started being more grateful, but because I think I was already being grateful myself, but maybe this being conscious and having this like present in my daily life, became a lot more deeper after sharing this with this friend. So I think that's the person I can identify as like a positive influence in gratitude in my life.
I love that. Oh my gosh, these are things again I don't get to know because we're usually working 9 to 5 on a project or something. So this is so cool that I get to have this behind the scenes with y'all because this fills my cup. I love it. Okay, Aggie, how about you?
For me, I don't know if there's a really particular person who has helped me to be more grateful. Okay, apart from my mother. Hey, shout out, mom.
Hey, ma.
I know. I need to send her this. She'll just be like, "You're on TV." Anyway, the thing that really I find really helpful is to be able to have like a journal. Yeah, so I really like to journal because that's how I like express myself and how I'm able to just reflect. And it's easier for me to understand the stuff that I'm going through when I write it down, like or I draw something. That's what I'm saying. So even as I draw or I color whatever, I'm always reflecting like, okay, Agnes, what is it that you're happy about? What is it that you are able to do that others aren't? And what is it that you're able to help others as well? Because sometimes I feel like being grateful is not just for yourself; it also can be for others to also help them, like just be aware about like being happy and stuff. Because some people might not even realize how how do what's the word? How beneficial? Not how beneficial. What's the word I'm looking for? Not privilege, like they're in a good spot because some
Yeah.
other stuff might be like blocking that from them, but being
Mhm.
able to talk to them, you're like, hey, okay, actually you're right, I'm not as bad off as I think. So I think that's one of the things that I like.
Girl, I mean, if Cicely was on this call, she would be jumping up and down. She'd be almost throwing a shoe. Okay. Like she loves journaling. And I am a huge advocate for journaling. I think it is so therapeutic for self, but also therapeutic for the aftermath, right? So if getting out feelings that we may harbor or hold for ourselves or for others, even to process those in a way that is more visual and we better understand like either those are petty or not as important or they really are important. It just gives it that deeper sense of evaluation. And I totally support journaling. If you're out there and this is something that you do on a regular basis, journaling is a very powerful tool. So I love the fact that you do this, Aggie. This is something that I definitely can relate to on a deeper level with you. Again, not even knowing this, y'all, until this moment. Like, can we just be real about this? Like, this does not happen normally in our conversations on 9 to 5. So the fact that I get to again peel back some layers, right, on each of you a little bit, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I've been journaling since like I was young because I've always been into books. And so, in fact, like
Yes,
some of my presents were just like, Aggie's always like drawing and stuff. So they'll give me like journals. And so sometimes I go back and I'm just like, you're such an emo kid. What is going on?
awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna actually we have one more guest to add in here. Viddy's entering the room. Whoop whoop, Viddy, it's good to see you, girl. I'm going to ask the next question. And then I'm going to actually before we do that, Viddy, can you chat for a second? You're more than welcome to introduce yourself. Who she may or may not be able to. That's okay. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to move on to the next question, which is what are you most grateful for during the pandemic? And I kind of want to kick it off a little bit real quick with saying one of the bigger things I'm most like grateful for through the pandemic was time. This gave me a really great opportunity, whether I wanted it to or not, to rethink about the way I use my time. So that's something that I'm really grateful for because if I didn't have that evaluation moment, if I didn't have the time that I had to force myself to take, to sit back, rethink, realign, repurpose a lot of things, I don't think Octane would be where it is right now. So I'm just really grateful that I did take that time to say, you know what? Hey, I need to grow this team. And hey, I need to put certain people in place that are way more apt in these skill sets than what I am. It's realizing that if you let things stay with you, it will die with you. and that's not what my intention was with Octane at all. I wanted to go past me. My toddler's really excited about that. So I really want to make sure like that was something I was most grateful for through the pandemic was really evaluating that time. But I would love to hear from you, ladies. Kick off with you, Vico.
Yes, I'm thinking back at the pandemic, and I think that during the first period of the first few months, what I was grateful for every day was that I was okay, I was not infected, that my family was okay. They had the chance to be like in contact with each other. I mean, we had specific times where we do like Zoom calls, or even with my friends, we got online together for a gym class, and we did it everyone at their house, but we were together in some way. So that's what I was grateful every day when it started. Then when the pandemic started to I mean, the all the lockdown was really long here, like it lasted for over 10 months. So then the new things appeared, and I started to be grateful for like being such an like a resilient and adaptable person, because I thought that I found a flexibility I had that I didn't know that I had. And I started to be like to adapt myself to the new situation and to go through it. And I even started to feel curious about more things, and I said, well, I cannot move from my spot. Okay, let's go and look for job opportunities abroad. And I think that arose, like that interest in me arose through the pandemic, because if everything will have stayed the same, and I was out of my place and going through to meet in person meetings or events or things everywhere, I never have thought of working remotely as I'm doing now. And I'm grateful for that opportunity, that curiosity that grew through the pandemic. So I think that will be like the things I would like to highlight related to the pandemic. What about you, Aggie?
For me, what same as you, the thing that I was really grateful for was my family, that we were all safe. Although we did have like family friends who didn't make it, so that was sad as well. But like for my family, I was really happy that we were able to be safe. On a personal level, what I found out was I'm usually a very I like stay in my house. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, now everyone has to stay in the house. Yay, we're all the same. But I learned how to just try out new stuff. So when you found out more people were, learning new things, so I signed up for like learning. What did I learn? I did more cooking shows. Like I started to cook different stuff because more people were like being online and sharing recipes, and I was like, okay, let me try this. I
Yes.
also learned like skills and stuff. I ended up like doing like my friends were like, hey, can you help us do like a website? I actually did the website for people. I was like, okay. I did it all on YouTube. But everyone was learning new stuff. So I felt like it was more encouraging because everyone was like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? So I made a website, guys. It's live. And so I
Hey.
found I know I should tell them, hey, I can help you with video.
Yes.
But so I learned how to just try new things and not just, confine yourself into a little bubble for yourself. And so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what about the pandemic just made it more accessible or more agreeable to just, hey, you can do this, you can do that. Because I think everyone was just online at the same time and people were sharing more stuff and people were sharing how, you can just try new things. And think that was something I was kind of grateful for about the pandemic.
I love that, and I think there's so many different things that we are all taking away from the pandemic, which was one, it forced us to pay attention to more things that we wanted to do. Right, it forced us to value maybe some things that we didn't necessarily take, or things that we took for granted a little bit. And I do love the fact that it forces us to look in ourselves. And that's something that on a world scale, like having a staff of people from across the world, that is so cool and introspective across the board. So I'm really excited to hear more of these kind of behind the scenes stories now that I know they exist. I want to, I want to capture some more of this later, maybe in the stories or something. But I love these stories. It is, again, very truth telling and very real to the fact that each of us have our own introspection. Everybody who went through the pandemic and experienced the pandemic had to go through this on their own level. And this is just an example of what the two of you went through in your own way and in your own lane. So this is so cool. I love this. Oh my gosh. We're going to do this again. Totally going to happen. So I think we kind of answered a little bit of two things there. We asked about people and things. What are you most grateful for? I guess the question that I want to ask next is how do you practice gratitude? That's a really big one for me, because I have to practice gratitude in a couple different ways. One, I have to practice gratitude as a creative, as a woman. I have to practice gratitude as a parent, as a caregiver. And I feel like I have to practice gratitude in certain spaces for my personal self and my own self-healing. And that's a lot of hats to wear, right? So I really kind of like try to find gratitude in the moment, obviously, when things are happening in that moment. I also try to find gratitude in times when it's not so grateful. Like just recently, there was an incident that happened in and around locally where a woman was racially harassed and assaulted simply because she was doing her job. And it created such a protest on the local campus here at the University of Kentucky. It was something that gave us a sense of, oh no, like this is happening. Like it's 2022 and this is still happening. But also the sense of gratitude of we can take these stories now and we can make them viral. We can take in the past we've been told to shut it down, and now we're in a sense of gratitude where we can really share that on a much wider and bigger scale. So I'm grateful, not because the incidents are actually happening, but in fact because we have a better way of dealing with it and addressing it right then and there instead of dealing with it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now in accordance to some textbook. So I really am grateful for that space. Vico, how about you?
Yes, I when you mention how do I practice gratitude, I have like I don't do diaries like you Aggie do, but I have like a way to practice it every day. I don't do maybe such a difference in from my personal life, from my different aspects of my life, but I try to before going to sleep think of 5 things that made my day great and I will like to like be grateful for. So some days, you don't have the best of your days and you maybe bad things happen to you during the day and it's hard to find it. But even if it's one of those days, I try to like stay for a minute and go deeper and say, okay, but you still have all these things that maybe are not like what are like in the top of your head during the day because you have other things and problems that you are like struggling with, but you still have all these good things that you have to be thankful for. So I think that's a good way to do a like a daily practice.
Mm-hmm.
And before going to sleep, look back at the day and say thank you.
Ooh, wee gems. She's dropping some gems today. All right, I'm for this. Okay, Aggie. Like in your case, I really want to hear like you talked about journaling, so I'm gonna tell you to do something outside of journaling. What is something else that you need to practice? Gratitude, right?
Darn it. So another thing apart from journaling is I really appreciate like the friends that I have, because they really manage to put stuff in perspective. Because I'm very much of a homebody, yeah. So I really like stay with the same kind of clique of people. But like by talking to my friends, I'm able to just explore and to just learn what other people are going through, and just to empathize and to understand where people are coming from. I think is a very good skill to have or to just practice as well. Because sometimes as you go through life, you think it's just you, like you're the main character.
Mhm.
But by by talking to other people and listening to their stories and listening to what they're going through and just understanding that, hey, life is not just about you and the dog in your house, that you're able to just appreciate what happens even for their sake as well. So I really appreciate having that frank conversations with my friends, because some conversations are deep, some are really hard conversations to have because they really like trigger questions that you didn't have in your mind, and you even know it's a bias. You're like, okay, maybe I should think about this differently. So I appreciate that aspect.
Man, I love that. Wow. You guys are really like peeling back some layers. Y'all are really being really transparent in the space. Thank y'all. That's exactly what this space is for. It's a virtual safe space for women, and specifically women in tech and women in the creative industries. And you both fill those slots. So thank you for being transparent about being able to share and be open in these areas. Because I feel like gratitude, it kind of invokes that level of transparency, right? In order to be grateful, you've had to experience the other side of not having gratitude, right? And I think that's a real place that a lot of women in tech and a lot of women who are in the creative industry understand. We understand the ebbs and flows, that a lot of times we're going to have really low moments in order to appreciate and elevate the high moments. And so I love that each of you are both sharing a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the perspective of having gratitude. Again, to each their own, and to every story, there is a level of empathy. And I love that you shared that, Aggie. Thank you for that. Okay, so I think we're coming up on our last question, which is, what obstacles do you face when you practice gratitude? I can definitely speak to this a little bit because things that I do on this level of gratitude, like the obstacles that I face is usually time and energy. Those are the two things that I come across the most as an obstacle sometimes to express gratitude. Whether it's just, sending an extra 10 or 15 bucks your way for an extra coffee or something, or intentionally taking the time to break down something for any person on the team, like if a what is that translation video, or some sort of tutorial on how to do something, like stopping my wherever I'm at to really be in that moment and meet people where they are, is really important to me. And I feel like that is one of the biggest obstacles that I can sometimes have when I'm wanting to express gratitude in the moment. So that's for me. But I would love to hear from y'all. Vico, wait, I'm sure you have a couple of examples, maybe one.
No, I know that time, yes, time is an obstacle always, because we all like to have 48 hours day instead of 24 to do everything we would like to do, including being grateful in the moment with people and with the universe itself. But I think that there's another obstacle that maybe is like a tricky one, that is, it will be comparison. Because if you say, for instance, this phrase that says the grass always looks greener on the other side, you sometimes you are enjoying a situation and you say, okay, I could have done it worse, because worse or better in comparison to this or that, or the person, the situation, or whatever. So maybe sometimes where you fall in this trap of comparison, you lose the sense of being grateful for all the good things you have. So that's something, like in a personal level, I have to be conscious of, and maybe stop and say, okay, it's not everything as good or as perfect as you see on the other side. And maybe like everyone can have its own like difficulties or things they are fighting with, and maybe you don't see those. So I think that's a thing we have to be conscious on, and we have to fight against to be more grateful. So I find an obstacle there.
Oh man, that's so true. And there's so many of us who are in the exact same position, right? Comparison is the thief of joy in a lot of areas. And I love the fact that you mentioned that, because that is a huge hurdle for many of us. We say that it's cool, but sometimes it really does creep up on us, this comparison trap. So yeah, good for you for even spearheading and bringing that on to a head, because that is something that we definitely need to address more of, especially in the areas of gratitude. So I can definitely tell you that many people relate to that, because that was perfect. I know Aggie's in the dark.
I didn't know if you'd noticed.
That was so funny. I was like, oh, like
All you could see was just like flashing teeth.
Oh,
oh my gosh.
I
Um,
know, like the
I,
power just went out.
oh my gosh, bless you. Okay, so real quick, this is the last question. So if you need to go a little bit earlier, you totally can. But any obstacles that you face when you practice gratitude?
Um, Actually, I think for me, it's this might come across funny to say, but like sometimes I feel like a sense of entitlement or like a privilege, and like you think that you're entitled to wake up in the morning, or like you think it's a given. Yeah. So sometimes I have to check myself and be like, no, Agnes, no one owes you anything, not even life. So I have to sometimes consciously just check myself on that. So it can be something as little as, I want to go see someone and I'll be like, okay, I can take an Uber. Not everyone can take an Uber, and or I can't drive there because hey, the price of gas is a lot, guys. No one can afford it. So
Yeah.
just being grateful to do that, but you can take it for granted because you have that sense of entitlement, and so every single time I have to like check myself, and be like, okay, no, Agnes, calm down. And the lights are back.
Yay! I love it. Okay. I love this because I feel like, again, we're looking at this it's the small things, right? It's really deep, coming down to those details. Hint, hint, this is why they're hired, because they're amazing with details. The end. So I am really excited that we could really just have this unique conversation in and around gratitude. And for the rest of you kind of listening and tuning in, like, this is the level of intention that I have intentionally surrounded myself around for 2022 and forward. This is what I would love to continue to swarm my output, my input, my mindset, my attitude. It is such a collection of these inside my workspace. That to me is like some of the greatest things that I am grateful for. It's the level of intention, it's the level of detail, it's the intention of really being detailed in a way that helps one another. You know what I mean? Like, you can always be helpful to somebody, but I feel like these women in particular on my team, they go one step beyond always. And that's something that I am so deeply grateful for without sniffling. So I am like super proud of the fact that we got to have this conversation. I am so glad that we got to just kind of peel back some layers. I got to know Vico a little bit more. I got to know Aggie a little bit more. This is so therapeutic to me. You have no idea how much this fills my soul, just knowing this cool information, knowing that we can have those conversations with each other. Clearly we're behind on the game night, so we're gonna make that happen at some point. I love the fact that we can intentionally talk about gratitude and gratitude from different aspects across the world. So I thank everyone for really listening and tuning into this episode. I want to actually end this episode with what we do normally on MTG the podcast, which is our flash questionnaire that we always give to all of our guests at the end of the show. So we throw a random phrase or question at you. You respond with the first thing that pops into your mind.
oh.
So yeah, this should be fun. Obviously, we'll keep it in the same order with Vico and then Aggie, but let's dig into that real quick because I'm excited. Okay, real quick, flash questionnaire. Something you've learned in the past year, whether it be a life lesson, hobby, or fun fact.
Okay, I think I've learned a lot about sharing and the importance of sharing. How nice it is to do whatever you do, to do it with your family, with your friends. I mean, everything that you do with someone else is better at the end of the day.
Okay, Aggie.
I learned that you need to be kind to yourself.
Ooh, look
Yeah.
at this. Drip, 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 drip. Okay. Okay, favorite vacation getaway spot.
Oh, now I'm dying for the beach.
All right, Aggie.
Actually, like a nice cottage at the near the lake or something. That would be really cool.
Ooh, I love both these places. Okay, I'm gonna lean toward the lake house though because me and son like, I'm like chill on the lake. I'm for that. It speaks to
Yeah,
me. Okay, sweet snacks or savory snacks?
Sweet.
same, sweet.
All right. Okay, this is no brainer. Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Harry Potter.
Star Wars.
Ah, yes, tag team. I love it. Yes, we are the staff that represents all things geekiness. So yes, we are about Harry Potter and the Star Wars at the same time. Okay, digital books or physical books?
Physical books.
Mm,
This
Aggie,
is hard.
yeah, I know, right? I'm like, ooh, Aggie, what you gonna say?
At this moment in time, I'll have to say a physical book as well.
Yes. Let me tell you, like at least 97% of our guests overall, like all 4 seasons, they've all said physical books, except for a handful that says digital. So I relate and I also digress because I'm digital. Give me all the
Yeah.
digital books. Okay. If you could go back in time, where would you go and whom would you see?
Oh, I think I will go back to see my grandparents, the ones that are not longer alive. And I remember vacation we did all together. We went to Disneyland, so I think I will go back to that place with them.
Oh, that's a beautiful memory. Okay, Aggie.
That is so sweet. I
I
don't
know,
think
right?
mine is sweet. Because I was just gonna be like, I kind of want to go to the Bible, Genesis. I want to see what's up going on over there. I'm like, hey, was this snake talking? What's happening with Adam and Eve?
Let's
I want to know what's
go.
happening over there. Yeah, to be honest, I want to go from the beginning. That's where I
Oh,
want
yes.
to go.
I mean, and can we just be honest? Like, for a lot of people of color, we don't want to go back.
It's not gonna end well for us. I
Right.
mean,
I'm like, we don't want to go back. But I think, yeah, holding on to good memories like that and
yeah,
going
I
to the
like
very
that one.
beginning, yes. Like 5 stars. Okay. Second to last question is, what is your love language? There's different ones like gifts, let's see, touch, words of affirmation.
Yeah, I think I'm like a word person, so I like nice messages. That's what I'm for.
I knew this. I'm so taking notes, but yes, I knew this. Yes.
Mine is two. I like gifts. Give me all the gifts. Thank you very much. Hint, hint. Christmas is coming. Anyway, um, but I also like acts of service. Like let's do stuff together. You know, like whether it's like doing errands, going shopping, or just spend time. It doesn't have to be like doing stuff together. It can just be like the same space we're inhabiting because you're near but not far. Yeah.
So if I call you while I'm grocery shopping, like that's like a bonding moment.
Yeah, let's do it. Like I might not pay attention to what kind of salt you're buying, but I'll be there with you. I'll be like, okay, cool, let's do this.
I'm gonna hold you to it, Aggie.
Like, yeah. Like,
I
what did you
love
pass over
it.
there? Okay.
I had no idea. Things that you learn, y'all. I'm learning. I'm learning for real. Okay, last question. Best part of being a grown-up.
I think that autonomy and independence.
Hey.
That's what I like.
I can have ice cream for dinner and no one can say anything about it.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Any delicacy you want. Oreos, chocolate chip cookies, anything.
Yep.
Mints. I'm a huge fan of mint and chocolate. So that to me is like, you can't tell me no.
I think for like a week I survived with just cereal. So like that's all I had was cereal. And in the back of my head, my mom was like, what about greens? I'm just like,
Right? Right. How could I forget about greens? Right.
I know. I was like, what? Like the color?
Oh my goodness. Okay, this has been way too good. Like, thank y'all so much for your time, your energy. I love the fact that we got to have this little bonding moment together, but also for the rest of the world to really kind of have two eyes in on this amazing little digital marketing company that we lovingly call Team Octane. So, from all of us to all of you, thank you. Thank you for being so grateful and listening to this episode. I want to encourage anyone and everyone to check out Octane, get to know these particular two women together. Watch how they collab. It's amazing. So check that out. Feel free to know more about that at lexoctane.com. But for the rest of us, I really thank you for listening to the More Than Graphics podcast. We can ask you to continue to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, and send us your feedback on Facebook or Twitter on how our life stories and virtual safe spaces are helping you navigate, empower, or encourage you. Please be sure to check out the More Than Graphics podcast.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive behind the scenes moments. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.